Okay, so I am here today making a video for you guys because I think that we really need to switch gears on how we are announcing our Google Meets. So I know in the first video that I made about doing Google Meets with students, I did recommend doing an announcement on the stream and attaching a link to it. And what we're all seeing is that we're just not getting the attendance. It's not working this way. It's not working by sending students emails. We're just not having very good Google Meets attendance. And I really think that this is because just of how things show up on the student end as far as an announcement versus an assignment. So the hardest thing about all of this is being not able to see things from a student perspective. So I am going to show you what it looks like through a student's view by showing you my son's view of my classroom. But I do also want to mention that when it comes to emails, even though this is a method of communication that makes sense to us, this is not something that is working for this purpose. It's not something that's working right now because of a couple things. One, you have a lot of students who just don't check their emails and they're not getting that that's something they need to start doing and making a habit of. But another is for those who are checking their emails, they are completely overwhelmed with a flood of emails because they have not gone in and changed their email settings, which are at the bottom of all of your classes. I'm actually going to sort of show you again, because I know I said this in an email, but if you have all of your notifications checked here, which I do not, you have all of them checked, you're getting notifications out the wazoo. You're getting emails about everything. And, this is happening for teachers. But remember, this is also happening for students because they also have these same settings. So if they go to their settings here, then, this is usually what a student's looks like and this is what it looks like when it's not messed with at all. So the students have these settings. And the biggest and most important setting that they need to toggle off in order to get less emails so that they're not getting all of these superfluous emails that are clogging up their inbox and get the important emails that you guys are sending to them is this one, the work and other posts from teachers. And I know you might be thinking, oh, no, they need to get an email about this. Here's the thing. If students are checking their emails or their Google Classroom every day, like they should be, these are students who are doing work and all that sort of stuff, but they're still not making all of the Google Meets. Those students are fine because they're going to see the work and they're going to see the posts. They don't need emails telling them about the stuff that they see in their Google Classroom. Just like you guys don't need an email every time somebody submits something because you see it in Google Classroom as well. So for those students who are not doing their work in Google Classroom, I guarantee you those are the same students who are not checking their emails. So it doesn't matter if you're emailing them or not. So I really think that the students need to turn this one off. And they can keep all of the other ones on because they're pretty important things to get emails for, but this is going to take out a lot of their emails because if you really think about it, they're getting these emails just like you get emails from all your students every time that they submit an assignment. And granted, it's a lot more emails than the students are getting, but they're still getting a ton because every single one of their teachers are posting assignments. And some teachers like to post assignments, load them up for the whole week and say you have these, have until like this date to get these done, which is totally fine to do. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to remember that means in one day students are getting an email for all of the stuff that you're posting, for everything that you're doing. So it's really clogging up their inboxes, and it's just as frustrating for you or for them as it is for you. And I think that's something that we really need to recognize. And so that's why emails are simply not an effective mode of communication until students get the, word that they need to mess with their notification settings. I really do not recommend that they turn all of them off. I think they should get email notifications about comments that mention you, private comments on their work. I think they could probably turn off comments on your posts because they really don't need that one on. But comments that mention you means that if you like you, if you want to talk to a student, or if another student is commenting to another student, if they do at so and so, then it actually tags them, just like in social media. And just like if you have this off in your settings, and if a teacher, if teachers put this one on and then tell their students, if you have a question for me, make sure you tag me in that post. If they do at, your email, or at, and they start typing in your name, then you'll pop up, they can select you. I'll show you how to do that again in a minute, because I did do it in another video, but I'll show it again in this one later. But for now, I just want to reiterate that everybody's inboxes are flooded. Everyone's inboxes are clogged. Students are missing, emails from teachers, but teachers are also missing emails from students. And it's all for the same reason. It's not because anyone doesn't want to, is ignoring them or doesn't want to communicate. It's that they just can't find all of this stuff, and they're not taking the time to search for teachers' emails. This is on the student and parent side, and scroll down and stuff to find those emails. It's just really easy to miss them, and we all know that that's true. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to his classes, and I actually need to refresh this because I deleted this I tried to do this video earlier and it didn't quite work. So I want you to notice right now that none of his classes have anything in these boxes, but that's not actually the way that Google Classroom is designed. Any assignment with a due date is going to show up in this box right off the bat as soon as they get into their Google Classroom, which is a really great way to communicate with students. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in my classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my practice classroom. Actually, sorry, I meant to go back to all my classes. So I'm in a bunch of classes, and you'll see here that all of this stuff is showing up. Okay, this is all stuff that, and it tells you when it's due today, due Tuesday, due tomorrow. And so they see the upcoming most important stuff for them to do right on their front Google page, Google Classroom page. So what you really want to be doing is announcing your Google Meets as an assignment and not as an announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my practice classroom, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So you see here, I've done some from videos I've done in the past. I do have some examples of that here where I've posted these things, and I want to show you one more time over on his end. If he goes here and looks at my stream, so this is what it looks like on his end, and he might not notice. I've also noticed a lot of teachers are not doing the link. And I understand that it's like, oh, this link is up here, students should know that. Well, we don't know how it's working on, for students, or I don't know at least, but for students who are doing this on phones, tablets, and using these apps, it doesn't always show up the same. And also, students don't always read things. They don't always look closely. They don't look at things or pay attention unless sometimes they're kind of spelled out for them really clearly. So even though it seems like it shouldn't be necessary to copy this link and put it in your announcement, it is. One of the reasons is because it helps it stand out. See how this looks like there's something to do and there's something to click? Whereas if this is not here, all they're seeing is text, and they're just skimming over it. They don't read it, they don't absorb, they don't recognize in any way that that's something important that they need to be paying attention to, because if this isn't here, it just blends in with everything else. I can actually even show you, what that looks like by going here and removing this link. So when you go over to the student view of things, this is how it looks. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh this, and you'll see that as he's scrolling around, that he just sees text, or the student would just see text. And I mean, they just, unfortunately, this is just the reality of things, and you're not there, so you can't show them, you can't make them notice it. You really have no control over that. So they're just going to be like, oh, I don't see where they said that I'm supposed to do this Google Meet. Whereas if they see the link, they're like, oh, wait, what's this? I'm going to go, Google Meet, and then they're going to click on it. But this is what many teachers are doing. I'm not trying to say this because I'm saying you're doing anything wrong. I just want to show you why you should do something like this instead of doing something like this. But like I said, they're not seeing these announcements pop up. I put that announcement there and it didn't show up at all on his thing. So you see that, he just really doesn't know that he's supposed to. So what I recommend that you do is, on the teacher side of things, when you have a Google Meet, this is what I think you should do. And I really believe that this is going to increase your participation in your Google Meets sessions with your students. So go ahead and create an assignment. And, we can just call this Google Meets 921. And please click the, maybe the class meet link to join the meeting on 9/21 at 8:15 a.m. So then what you want to do is you want to add that link so that it's got the nice little icon there, right? And then over here, you want to assign it just to your students who are in Columbia Homeroom. You do not need to assign this to everybody. If you're doing a separate Columbia Homeroom Google Classroom, that's fine. That's up to you, and that's, do whatever is working for you. Do whatever you're most comfortable with and makes the most sense. But for those of you who have all of your students in the same classroom together, make sure, that you are using this tool because it's really wonderful. So you can uncheck all the students and then just select the ones that are in Columbia Homeroom. So I'm just going to go ahead and select Cooper right now because he's the only one I want to get this assignment. Now, as far as points go, it's up to you if you want this to be for a grade. Personally, I think if you attach a small grade to it, that you're probably going to get even more participation because they're like, oh, look, there's 5 points right there. And if that's 5 points every class period, then that adds up. And it's just 5 points for simply coming to the meeting and attending the meeting. You can also choose to have it be ungraded. I mean, that's, again, completely up to you. But just because it's an assignment doesn't mean it has to have a grade attached to it. The most important part really is that you give it a due date. And so the due date would be the day of the meeting and then a time. And the time would be when you want, when the meeting is taking place. So 8, I don't know why I can't type today, 8:15 a.m. All right, so now we have Monday, September 21st at 8:15 a.m. And also what you might want to do too, if you're just depending on how you're organizing things, is put it under a topic. Now I like to do topics by what the actual content is. I already have one here, so I have a Google Meets topic. Some teachers are organizing it by a week, and that's fine too. Again, do what makes sense for you, do what's working, do what makes you comfortable. All right, so go ahead and when you're done with all of that, you want to assign this, and you'll now have a Google Meets scheduled for this date. And on the student end of things, this is what it looks like. All right, so I posted a new assignment. Okay, so just the fact that it's an assignment tells students this is something that I need to do. This is being assigned to me. An announcement is more like, oh, they're just saying something to me, and I don't really need to listen to that. Classwork, this is how it shows up in the classwork. But the most important part here is really how it shows up on that home screen view. So here we go. You've got my practice classroom. I've got due Monday, 8:15 a.m. Google Meets 9/21. So they know when they're going to do it. They know that they can click on that, and this is where they go to the class meeting. It is just so straightforward, so simple, so little room for confusion for everybody, and it's going to really work out better. And then how you can actually, take attendance for that Google Meet is very, very simple. It's simply by having them mark it as done. That's all they have to do. Just mark it as done. And then it'll show that they've submitted, this assignment, that they went into the Google Meets and they did it. Some teachers might, also encourage their kids to make a class comment or something like that. But that's a little bit, much when all you have to do is just say, mark is done, and then they're done, and then you don't have to spend time while they're on the Google Meet writing down who all's in the Google Meet, or checking off on your roster, or highlighting a list, or doing whatever you're doing right now to keep track of who's in your Google Meet. So that in and of itself makes less work for the teachers, less stress for the teachers, and more attention that you can pay to actually teaching. And so real quick before I go, I do want to show you what I meant by how to mention somebody in a comment. So I'm just going to go ahead and mention, myself in a comment, and it's just at, and then they start typing the teacher's name, and then it comes up. Okay, so maybe this student is having an issue. I don't know. Anyway, so I just want to show you guys, how that works and why this might be a way that works better for you. There's really no way to know this stuff until we're in it, until the things are happening and or not happening, and then we just have to find solutions on how to fix it. So yeah, this is what it looks like on my teacher end. I've got myself tagged in this, and I would get an email notification for that because I have it selected to get the notifications for comments I mentioned in, but not comments in general, so that I'm not getting a million emails about comments that students are making, usually to each other, just only the ones that they're making to me. And in the student work, you've got your list. This is literally your attendance for your Google Meet. So you know exactly who comes in and does this, and then they get their 5 points, or they just get their attendance, participation, or whatever. How you do this, how you manage this as a grade, or how all that stuff is really up to you. But with a grade or without, just the clarity of how this is presented is going to increase the attendance in your Google Meets. So I really hope this was helpful for everybody. Please let me know if you have any more questions or need any help, and thank you for watching my videos.